Hello and welcome to Music of Who. This is the third of 3 videos based around the leitmotifs for the 13th Doctor's companions, Graham, Ryan and Yaz. In this video, I'll be taking a closer look at Yaz's theme. Out of all 3 companion themes, Yaz's seems to be the one that people are most familiar with. But if you're not quite sure what it is yet, here it is in its simplest form. From the off, we can see that Yaz's theme is made up of 2 phrases, both of which are based on the same melodic idea. An opening octave drop, followed by a 4th up, in this case from an A to a D, which either resolves back to the A, and thus to the key chord of A minor, or sometimes the 6th chord, in this case F major, or onto the D, in most cases signalling an uplifting shift to the flattened 7th chord, in this case G major, or the 4th, in this case D major or minor. Yaz is a very ambitious character. We're often told that she wants more from life, more from the universe, etc., and I think her motif captures this sense of aspiration quite nicely. Much like Ryan's theme, it's stuck in a minor key to begin with, but there's a sense of wanting to escape and move into a major key, which reflects Yaz's determination and optimism. For me, it also has a certain heroic quality, a dignity almost, due in part, perhaps, to the broadness of that opening octave at the start, which in turn mirrors, in reverse, the opening phrase of the 13th Doctor's theme. And perhaps surprisingly for a companion who's often accused of having nothing to do, Yaz's theme actually appears the most prolifically across series 11 and 12 compared to Graham's and Ryan's, according to my findings at least. Which, in all seriousness, does actually make quite a lot of sense, since her character arc is more thinly spread over the 2, as opposed to Graham and Ryan, who are given more attention in Series 11 than they are in Series 12. Yaz's theme is the first of the companion themes to be heard in the show, making its debut 4 minutes into The Woman Who Fell to Earth. A low-pitched, slow rendition underscores Yaz's attempt to resolve a parking dispute, picked out on electric guitar, and, fittingly, played in the same key as the Doctor Who theme tune, E minor. The lengthening out of each phrase means that both times the emphasis is placed on the 4th rather than the 5th note.
Stick with a hammer.
Because you keep me near side door.
Because you parked in my spot.
It's not your spot. There are no spots.
Ladies, please. Thank you. Can I suggest a simple solution? You pay for a cracked window, you pay for a scratched door, and we all agree that parking round here is a nightmare. But that grown-ups really shouldn't need to call the police to sort it out for him.
Just a few seconds later, the motif is repeated when Yaz is on the phone to her boss, this time at a much higher pitch, and with more substantial chording than a mere drone note.
I'm just saying, I am capable of more than parking disputes.
And I keep telling you, don't run before you can walk. You're a probationer, Yaz. Learn the basics.
I want to do more. Look, can you not get them to give me something that'll test me? Something a bit different.
There is something that just came in. If you want different.
A cello version of Yaz's theme appears in the Ghost Monument when she's remembering her family, preceded by a 4-note introduction section which crops up a few times across Series 11.
Whatever happens here, it's a better chance than I had back home.
You're making me miss my family. That's quite some achievement, considering my dad drives me bananas and my sister's trying to get me to move out so she can have my bedroom. And I only saw him yesterday.
Don't ever take them for granted.
A near identical version to this is heard in the next story, Rosa, when Yaz is talking to Ryan by the bins, with the motif once again played in D minor with the introductory 4 notes, albeit at a slower speed and on violins rather than cello. We also end in G major this time rather than G minor.
But they don't win, those people. I can be a police officer now because people like Rosa Parks fought those battles for me. For us. And in 53 years, I'll have a black president as leader. Who knows where they'll be 50 years after that? But that's proper change. What?
Were you born this positive?
Guess so. Must be my Mexican blood.
A few minutes further into the story, Yaz's theme is played as she boards the bus, following a brief burst of Ryan's theme, which you'll recognise if you watched last week's episode.
Does colour just mean black in 1955? Guess I'll pack my South Asian Mexican backside in the white section then and let's see what happens. Riding the bus in Montgomery. Good times.
And now for one of my favourites. A rare major variation of Yaz's theme from Arachnids in the UK, when the Doctor gleefully accepts her invite to tea at Yaz's.
Yes, I would. Thanks. I love tea. Tea at Yaz's, amazing. Are you coming? Are we all going for tea at Yaz's?
She didn't invite us.
Don't be daft. Of course you're invited.
All right, then.
Graham?
Later in the same episode comes a slightly more obscure variation of Yaz's theme, played as she's driving up to the Robertson Hotel and as she's reunited with her mother. This one begins not with the first phrase, but with the second, played in A minor. We then get something a bit more unique. The motif is repeated in full, now in A major, but beginning on the 5th rather than the 1st degree of the scale. You can hear this cue on the Series 11 soundtrack about 40 seconds into the track Insurance Policy. Demons of the Punjab is a very Yaz-centric episode, so it's natural that her theme should crop up in the score a good few times. We first hear it when she meets her nan, Umbreen, in younger form. This one is also in a major key, D-flat major, and also begins on the 5th rather than the first note of the scale. The first note of the first phrase is omitted, i.e. there's no octave drop, with the emphasis placed on the C-flat rather than the A-flat. You can hear this cue on the Series 11 soundtrack as part of the track Umbreen. Yaz's theme is next played when the Doctor warns her to tread softly prior to them splitting up in the forest. The melody here is identical to that from the Rosa bin scene, albeit with a more rhythmic texture underneath and altered chording.
Yaz! Be careful what you say back there. The wrong word in the wrong moment. You can interfere yourself out of existence. Do you understand?
You know there are aliens here, right? In the Punjab during partition, and you're worried about me being gobby?
Tread softly. You're treading on your own history.
The motif is used again at the start of the scene between Graham and Yaz, played in C-sharp minor, the minor equivalent of D-flat major, the key used for Umbreen. The final chord, a sharpened chord 6, is a distinguishing feature of this particular version.
This must be scrambling your head.
Last but not least, a fairly conventional variation can be heard as the Doctor remarks, "We can't have a universe with no Yaz," marked out by the inclusion of the 4-note introduction and the descending pattern in the accompaniment in the final 2 bars.
The alien assassin started it. We can't leave now. If something happens to Umbreen, your whole timeline could be erased. No Yaz! We can't have a universe with no Yaz! Now, whatever's in here might tell us more. Nobody breathes too deeply.
A G minor version of the first phrase is used in The Witchfinders, when Yaz is recalling childhood bully Izzy Flint to Willa.
Had the year from hell. When I say hell, I don't literally mean hell, I mean it was really awful. And I told myself when I got bigger, I'd stand up to the Izzy Flints of this world.
I can't stand up to Becca.
A rather heroic rendition of phrase 1 underscores the moment Yaz agrees to sacrifice her neural balancer in the Battle of Ranskoor av Kolos.
To stop Earth being destroyed.
Yeah, good. I mean, really good. Except it doesn't solve our problem with these.
With regards to Series 12, in Spyfall, Yaz's theme appears 3 times. Firstly, there's the variation heard in her reintroduction scene, which stays in D minor throughout.
Sort of.
Last time. You have to be here to finish your probation.
I know. I'm coming back, I promise.
And I presume they're with you.
Then there's the slow, ambient version which underscores Ryan's chat with Yaz following her trip to the Kasavin dimension.
You okay? You get any sleep?
It was just like nothingness. Nowhere. And I was totally alone.
A more lively rendition of Yaz's theme appears towards the end of part 1, when she's rolling the dice with O at Barton's party, with a slow version of phrase 1 followed by a faster version of phrase 2. This cue appears on the Series 12 soundtrack as part of the track Going Undercover. In Praxeus, a slow version of phrase 1 is played as Yaz and Gabriella find the teleport.
What's the worst place we could end up? Long list. You don't want to know.
You are crazy.
Yaz's theme is heard in full again when she arrives home in Can You Hear Me?
I'm not late. It is the right day, isn't it? Have you been waiting long? Am I really late?
Yes. Mum and Dad left hours ago. Whitby for the night.
Did you cook? Can you cook now?
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Nomak.
One of the most prominent uses of the motif comes at the end of the episode, when Yaz turns up on the doorstep of the police officer who helped her as a teenager. Like Insurance Policy and Umbreen, this is another one which begins on the 5th degree of the scale rather than the 1st. Once again, it's just the first phrase, with the 4th note changed from a G natural to a B, and the D sharp added on to the end. You can hear this cue on the Series 12 soundtrack towards the end of the track It's Not Just You. The Series 12 finale contains the final 2 uses of Yaz's theme to date, both of which are in A minor. The first of these is a drawn-out version of phrase 1 played in Ascension of the Cybermen, as Yaz promises to keep everyone safe.
We're going to keep all of you safe. We're going to find the Doctor, and we're going to take them Cybermen down. Out with Graham.
Yes, we are, Yaz.
And lastly, another fan favourite, the glorious rendition of the full motif, which underscores Graham complimenting Yaz in The Timeless Children.
Sorry, I haven't offended you, have I?
It's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Oh, hi.
You're not such a bad human yourself either.
So to recap, Yaz's theme is suitably heroic, reflecting her bravery and optimism. It's used to spread more evenly across series 11 and 12 than Graham or Ryan's themes, in keeping with the idea that her development as a character is considerably more gradual. It's equally as effective in condensed form as it is when it's played fully. Standouts include the variations in major rather than minor keys, as well as those which begin on the 5th degree of the scale. Thanks a lot for watching this episode of Music of Who. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you're new to my channel, please make sure you subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again for the next one.